Look, there's a moment happening right now in Lebanon and Israel that tells you everything about how this war actually works. And I need to walk you through it because the mainstream coverage completely misses the real story. Israeli forces just captured Beaufort Castle. It's a Crusader fortress from the 12th century. Strategically important, sure. But here's what matters. The IDF immediately posted a celebratory video. Soldiers posing, showing off the victory, displaying their exact location on social media. Within minutes, Hezbollah watched that video, identified the coordinates, and launched a drone swarm directly at them. 3 Israeli soldiers died, others wounded, a tank destroyed, 2 armored vehicles gone. All because someone thought a TikTok moment was worth more than operational security. Now, here's what you need to understand. This isn't just another tactical failure. This is a window into why Israel's military strategy in Lebanon is fundamentally broken right now, and why the ceasefire negotiations between the U.S. and Iran are actually stalling because of what's happening on that border. Let me back up. Netanyahu got a phone call from Trump this week. Tense. The kind of call where the American president is supposedly angry at the Israeli prime minister. But here's the pattern that repeats every single time. Netanyahu takes the call, absorbs the criticism, and then does whatever he wants anyway. Trump made him apologize to the Emir of Qatar once, publicly humiliating. Netanyahu denied it. Trump released a photo of the apology. And then what? Netanyahu kept operating exactly as before. So when Trump tells Netanyahu to ease up on Lebanon, Netanyahu hears it as a suggestion, not a command. And people like Itamar Ben-Gvir, the national security minister, are actively pushing the opposite direction. Ben-Gvir visited a settlement this week and said something that should alarm everyone paying attention. He said the suburbs of Beirut need to be flattened, not militarily degraded, flattened. He opposed the previous ceasefire, and he's saying it again now. This is the debate inside Israel's government right now, and it's not a debate between moderates and hawks. It's a debate between different types of hawks. Here's why this matters to you. Lebanon is the sticking point in negotiations between the U.S. and Iran. The war in Gaza is supposedly winding down. The Houthis are being managed. But Lebanon? Israel wants to go to war with Lebanon, full scale, and the U.S. is trying to negotiate a broader deal with Iran that requires Israel to not do that. So you have 2 contradictory objectives in the same room, and right now, Israel's preference is winning. Meanwhile, the actual violence on the ground is escalating in ways that don't make the news cycle. Courtney Bow, a journalist embedded in southern Lebanon, was reporting from Jabal Amel Hospital this week. It's been struck 3 times by Israeli forces. The doctors are calling them proximity strikes. The ICU is damaged. Operating rooms are unusable. Equipment is destroyed. A mother came to the hospital after the strike to check on her premature infant. The baby was alive, but the damage around the neonatal unit was close enough that she was terrified. This is the context for what happened at Beaufort Castle, and it explains why the Israeli military's response was so tone-deaf. They captured a castle, they made a video. They got soldiers killed. And then the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations went to the General Assembly and complained. He showed footage of Hezbollah's FPV drones and described them like they were some kind of unfair weapon. He said they weigh less than 2 kilograms. They fly low. They're hard to detect. They have fiber optic cables instead of radio signals, so they can't be jammed. He called it modern warfare, cheap, precise, deadly. And then he seemed genuinely offended that Hezbollah is using these weapons against Israeli troops. Think about that for a second. An invading military, occupying territory, complaining to the United Nations that the people being invaded are fighting back effectively. Israel has killed 3,000 civilians in Lebanon since this war escalated. 3,000. And the Israeli ambassador is at the UN asking for condemnation because Hezbollah figured out how to use cheap drones to stop Israeli advances. This is what happens when a military loses the narrative thread. When you're invading, you don't get to be shocked that people resist. You don't get to be outraged that they're doing it efficiently. And you definitely don't get to post celebratory videos that hand your enemy your exact coordinates. But here's what's actually happening beneath this. Netanyahu and his government are calculating that the U.S. won't actually enforce the ceasefire it's negotiating. They're betting that Trump's frustration will fade, that Ben-Gvir's pressure will win, and that they can expand the war into Lebanon while the U.S. is still trying to negotiate with Iran. It's a high-stakes gamble, and every time an Israeli soldier dies because of a drone swarm launched from a video they posted themselves, it's evidence that the military strategy isn't working. The effort to annex territory continues in the West Bank. The violence in Lebanon is escalating. The ceasefire is fragile. And the U.S. is caught between two contradictory objectives because Israel refuses to choose between them. This is the moment. This is when the broader consequences of these decisions start becoming visible. Watch what happens in the next 2 weeks. Because if Israel escalates in Lebanon before the U.S. can finalize a deal with Iran, everything changes. The entire regional calculation shifts, and we're not prepared for that outcome.